You are all welcome to our lecture series. This is a part of the last lectures in the presentations in the research methods course, and in this particular presentation we are going to have examples of probable questions in the research methods course and suggested acceptable responses. In this PowerPoint presentation, we just have a sample of some questions and probable responses. Thank you. On this slide number 2, we have a question that says, what is the meaning of the term 1. Research? Research is an unbiased and objective way of finding answers to questions within a framework of a set of philosophies using procedures, methods, and techniques that have been tested for their validity and reliability. And if that could be said, one would add the marks that have been shown. But we can have variations depending on the presenter or the one answering the question. Next, what is the meaning of the term scientific method? A scientific method is a method of inquiry that is based on empirical or measurable evidence, subject to specific principles of reasoning, and is intended to investigate phenomena, acquire new knowledge, or correct and integrate previous knowledge. That is a probable, suggested, and acceptable response. What are the characteristics of a research study? Here, without being very elaborative, as far as possible, a research study should have the following characteristics. It must be controlled, rigorous, systematic, valid, and verifiable. It must be empirical and critical. When is a research study classified as descriptive? Descriptive study attempts to describe systematically a situation, problem, phenomenon, service, or program, or provides information about, say, the living conditions of a community, or describes attitudes towards an issue. That is descriptive research study. What about correlational research study? A correlational research study is mainly intended to discover or establish the existence of a relationship, association, or interdependency between two or more aspects of a situation. Whereas an exploratory research study is a study that is undertaken with the objective either to explore an area where little is known or to investigate the possibilities of undertaking a particular research study. Explanatory research study here mainly refers to a study where what that is meant to clarify why and how there is a relationship between two aspects of a situation or phenomenon. In the other question, what issues are considered when selecting a research problem or topic? Interest is paramount. We must have interest. Therefore, in this particular question, what issues are considered when selecting a research problem or topic? Interest. Interest should be the most important consideration in selecting a research problem, which helps to sustain the motivation and the energy to complete it. The other one, magnitude. You have to narrow the topic down to something manageable. specific and clear. It is extremely important to select a topic that you can manage within the time and within the resources that are at your disposal. Measurement of concepts. If you are using concept in your study, that is especially if it is quantitative studies, make sure you are clear about its indicators and their measurement. Remember, level of expertise is also important. Make sure you have an adequate level of expertise for the task you are proposing. The other one, relevance. Select a topic that is relevant to you as a professional and adds to the existing body of knowledge or bridges gaps or is useful in policy formulation. The other one, availability of data. If you have to collect information from secondary sources, make sure that this data is available and formatted before finalizing your topic. Another issue is ethical issues. The ethical issues involved in your study, their effects, and how they can be overcome normally are considered at problem formulation stage. The other question, what does an abstract of a research proposal refer to? An abstract of a research proposal, like we said in our earlier discussions, is a synopsis, is a summary of the proposed project. It includes the rationale for the proposed research study, a statement of specific aims and objectives, the experimental approaches to be used, and the potential significance of the research. That is the abstract of a proposal, a research proposal. Another question, outline the components of a basic research proposal. We must have a title, and we must have, if it is a proposal, we must have a title page. The proposal title and the student's name are printed on a separate cover page. We have a summary or an abstract, a synopsis of the proposed project, including the rationale, proposed research, and a statement of specific aims and objectives, the experimental approaches, and the potential significance of the research. That is what we are going to have there at that level, but we continue. We must have specific aims. These ones are contained in our proposal. They provide a clear, concise point-by-point summary of the aims of the research proposed. We must have background and significance to the study. These ones normally explain background information necessary to understand the proposed project and its significance in relation to long-term research objectives. This section should include a critical evaluation of existing knowledge and should identify forward progress that the project is intended to provide. On the other hand, in our proposal, we may have some preliminary data. Succinctly describe preliminary experiments that justify the rationale or demonstrate the feasibility of the proposed research. You can also have an inclusion of figures with legends, experimental design, and methods. We must have a section for methods. And if we have a section for methods, it involves detailed discussion of the experimental design and procedures that will be used to accomplish the specific objectives. Here, you should, in your proposal, describe the protocols to be used and provide a tentative sequence or timetable for the investigation. It means that we must have a time framework. And it also means data will have to be analyzed and interpreted. In the other question, outline the steps undertaken to execute a research process. There are things that you are supposed to be done sequentially. You choose an area of interest, you search for researchable problem. That is the part of decision. You are deciding on what to do. After you have decided and picked on what to do, you write out research questions and hypotheses to guide you. These normally define the course of the study. The other step, you read widely about the study area and plan how you would get the data or information to answer the research questions. The outcome of this is the research proposal. In the other step, you undertake the study, collect the samples or data treatment and analysis, discussion of results, and so on. Here, and conclusion to the study. Here, the outcome is mainly the research report or research paper or publication. In the other question that we have as an example of the question and probable outcome or suggested responses, we have differentiate between quantitative and qualitative research. Here we had several things to consider. One, qualitative research is the one that has unstructured or flexible methodology, whereas quantitative has structured or predetermined methodology. Qualitative describes variation in phenomenon, whereas quantitative quantifies the extent of variation. Qualitative emphasizes description of variables. Quantitative emphasizes measurement and classification. Sample size is smaller in qualitative. Sample size is very large in quantitative. Qualitative covers multiple cases, whereas quantitative narrows focus in terms of extent of inquiry. In qualitative, we have authenticity, but not value-free, whereas in quantitative, we have reliability and objectivity. In qualitative, we have exploration of experiences, whereas in quantitative, we have explanation of instances and formulation of theories. We have qualitative subjects responses to identification of themes, which is descriptive or narrative, whereas in quantitative research, we have variables subjected to statistical procedures or analytical in nature.